we call you can call it here as internal electric fields. Inside electric field, you can call it here as inside electric field, but it's a Coulomb electric field. Coulomb electric fields. In our Coulomb chapters, I call it as an induced electric field, even though it was wrong. But in the electrostatic, it was not create a confusion. But in this chapter, if I call it as an induced electric field, it is create a confusions. So it is not an induced electric fields. Induced electric field, it's going to be something different. It is a Coulomb electric fields, but I can say inside the conductor, now we have a electric field, and this is non-zero. Now this is something different from my electrostatics chapters. In electrostatics chapters, we have discussed that inside electric field was zero, but here we have some inside electric fields, and this inside electric field is created by my induced charges. Okay, so I hope you understand the point here. There is inside electric fields. Now because of that, you're going to have a force. One more force is add up on the electrons. So electron is there. So there is an electric field inside this metals, and this is going to be creating here the one force, electrical force, that is my minus EE. Now for this electrons, we have taken the electron from the inside. Okay, one electron we have taken, and on this electron we're going to have two forces. One is the magnetic force. Magnetic force try to take the electron downwards, and one is the electrical force, and this electrical force is given by its friends. Okay, negative positive charges. So they are opposing it, right? And now it's not very tough to understand. Ultimately, who is getting stronger? Magnetic forces are fixed, but electrical forces are increasing. No? More electron accumulate, more strong electric field you have. More stronger electric field you have, it is going to be oppose the accumulation of the electrons. So ultimately, I can say my electrical forces will balance my magnetic forces. So equilibrium here is must. Okay, it is a must equilibriums. So under that situations, our magnetic and electrical forces are going to be balanced. In electrostatic chapter also electron come to the equilibriums. Here also it come to the equilibrium. In electrostatic chapter, outside electric field balance the inside electric fields. Okay. Here I'm going to have outside magnetic forces are balancing the inside electrical forces. Equilibrium is there. Okay. Just like equilibrium is theirs. So equilibrium is there. So in that equilibrium's condition, if I write here, what is the equilibrium conditions? My magnetic force here is V cross B. And electrical here is, okay, electrical force E. So for equilibrium, what is the condition here? In equilibrium, I'm going to have the criteria. Electric field should be developed inside the conductor, and this electric field is opposite to your V cross P. This is my electric field. Now, if you have an electric field in the conductors, so there is an electric field. And what is the direction of my electric field? The direction of my electric field is opposite to V cross B. So if we have a V cross B in a one direction, electric field is going to develop in that downward directions. Now this electric field is a Coulomb electric field, right? This is created by the static charges. Here you have a positive charges, there is a negative charges, and these are stationary charges, rest charges, right? So these are my charges at rest. So this is my Coulomb, and this Coulomb field have a potential also. So this electric field creates my low potentials on the one side. It will create here as a high potentials on the another side. It creates potential difference, right? So inside the conductors, there is a potential difference. even though electron does not have any force, they can't move. But electron has a magnetic force, electrical force. Magnetic force does not have any potential. Electrical forces has potentials, right? So because forces are balanced, forces here is balance, no doubt, but potential is not balanced. So there is a difference in the potentials. Forces balance, but potential unbalanced. And because of that, I'm getting here high and low potential of the electric field. And this potential difference, we know it is the work done by the electric fields. That's here my values. The potential difference is going to be developed here. And this potential difference, if you substitute here the value, it will be V cross B dot dLs. Let's create here the potential difference. So yeah, let's create here the potential difference. Now this potential difference, because of this potential difference, now it is behaving like a battery. This whole structure is behave as a battery. Behave as a battery. Remember what happened in the battery. In the battery, what happens? My positive charges are accumulated on the one side, negative charges are accumulated on the another side. Okay, same thing happen here. Positive charges are accumulating on the one side, negative charges are accumulating on the another side. So it's going to behave as a battery or not? That is what happened in the battery. So this positive end behave as a positive terminals, negative end, it is going to behave as a negative terminals. So this moving conductor behave as a battery. It is behaving as a battery. Now this potential difference, okay. So in this case, if you want to take the charge from here to here, you need to do the work, and this work is going to become its a EMF. Without any current, okay, it is going to be my open situations, open battery. When my battery here is open, so EMF and potentials are same. So I can say this will becomes my EMF, okay, in open battery. If you're going to be have a closed battery, then potential is equals to E minus IR. But when you have an open battery, charges are just on the terminals. They are just accumulated here on the terminals. So potential difference between the terminal becomes my EMF. So I can say the same way, this is conductor, the charges are accumulated, okay? And there is a magnetic force responsible for the separation of my charges. So I can say this potential as a battery EMF or not. So it's going to behave as a EMF. So that EMF developed is called motional EMF. So it's going to we have a value V cross B dot dl. That's my motional EMF, right? I hope you understand the point here, motional EMF. So it's going to be a very important concept is this. And in this case, you're getting here the formula for the motional EMF, right? You understand here the reason behind the motional EMF, plus you're getting here the relations in the velocity of the conductor and magnetic field. And that relations can you define your motional EMF, how much EMF is going to be generated. Yes or not?
Sir, the equilibrium is after the charges get induced, sir.
Yes, equilibrium is after the charge is induced. Before the charge is induced, how the equilibrium is possible? Huh? So you require two forces. Once again, just listen here, what I'm told here. It's a very simple phenomena. Similar to the electrostatics, okay? Similar to the electrostatics. Once again, just see here, what will happen is, what we're doing is, we are moving the conductor simply. This is a metal, and you move the metal in a magnetic fields. Okay. magnetic fields. Now, when the metal moves, electron also moves. So if I'm analyzing here the one electrons, so this electron is a moving electrons. So under my magnetic field, electron experience a force opposite to my V cross B, and the force experienced by the electron is minus E V cross B. That is the force experienced by the electrons, right? Every electron experience it, right? So what happened with that force? Because of this force, all the electrons began to move in the downward directions. The electrons start accumulating here, downside. Okay, so they start accumulating here. So positive charges are going to start inducing on the surface. So that's my induced charge. And here I'm using the induced charge as a normal English word, not a scientific term. So charges are going to be induced on the surface. Now these positive charges when induced and these negative charges are inducing, they are creating electric field or not? And these charges are rest charges. So they generate here Coulomb electric fields. So electric field develop, that's my Coulomb electric fields. In electrostatics, we call that as the induced electric fields. I don't want to use that word induced electric field, so I use it here word inside electric fields. So there is develop here inside electric field. Okay. The induced electric word is used for some other electric fields. So this is my Coulomb electric fields created by the induced charges. It is electric field created by the induced charges, no doubt. Okay. But it is a Coulomb electric fields because charges, these charges who are creating, they are not moving, they are stationary charges. Okay, these electrons are also stationary charges. So they are generating here Coulomb electric fields. So because of this Coulomb electric field, this electron experience one more force. One is the magnetic force, and now one is the electrical force. It will experience now two forces. So clearly, more and more electron accumulate, more and more electric field becomes stronger, and more electrical force becomes. So ultimately, the electrical force will balance my magnetic force or not? It is definitely going to be balanced. So my electrical force ultimately balance our magnetic force, right? It is definitely there. How can we say it is definitely? Because I told you in the metal, there is an unlimited supply of electrons. Huge number of electrons are there. So definitely for all our practical purpose, for all our normal human being situations, this is balance. Okay. In abnormal situation, we are not talking. In a normal situation, we are talking. In a normal situation, it is balanced, easily balanced. So electrical force and magnetic forces are balanced. So when they are balanced, you're going to reach here the must equilibrium situations. Equilibriums. So in the equilibriums, we have magnetic electrical forces balance, electron comes to rest. But when the electron comes to rest, now you have two fields. Magnetic field already there, electric field now developed. Two fields are there. Magnetic field and electrical field. Magnetic field don't have any potential, but electric field has a potential. Okay? Magnetic field don't have any potential, I told you. Magnetic forces don't do work, but electrical forces do work, and their work is conservative. So electrical forces do work. Magnetic forces don't do any work. So there is a potentials. So positive side high potential, negative side low potentials. And this potential difference, I can say it is a work, negative work of my electric fields minus E dot dls. Now I can say electric field is opposing minus V cross B. So that's my potential difference. The situation of this metal is just like a battery. It is behaving as a battery. In the battery, chemical reactions separate the charges. Here, my magnetic force is separating the charges. Okay? So positive terminal, negative terminals. This behave as a positive terminal, down behave as negative terminals. Okay? And during this open situation, EMF and potential both are same situations. When you close the battery, connect here the resistance, then it is behave as a E minus IN. So in this case, I can say this is behaving as a battery. Okay? It's behaving as a moving battery. which has a potential V cross B, EMF, sorry, EMF is V cross B. It's V cross B dot DL. So when we have a moving conductor, so you can replace this moving conductor with the battery. It is behaving as a battery. And what is the direction of my battery? It is in the direction of V cross B. Okay, so positive side, where is the positive side? Positive side is in the direction of V cross B. Negative terminal is on the opposite of V cross B, right? And that's going to be have my EMF, right? So anyone have a doubt now? What is my motional EMF? Is it okay? Clear? Take it down. Okay. Is it okay? Clear? Okay. One special case you can notice here. Special situations. There go. 90% of the problems, your magnetic field is constants. If V cross B is a constant. So if V cross B is going to be constant, I can say my EMF is V cross B and DL is only inside the integrals. Now what happened in this situation? Suppose I'm going to have a rod. This is my wire is this. So in this case, what is the total length is not matter. So in the integrations, what you're getting is, you're getting this length only, AB length. If you are doing this integration, it is a vector integrations. You take out this DL, 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 DL. If you integrate all that small DLs, so it is equals to this endpoints or not? It's simply equal to my endpoints. So this curve could be replaced by a straight wire. So I can replace it here as a straight wires. So if this condition happens, if my V cross B is a constant, then curve is not important. Endpoints are important, and we can replace this curve with the straight wires, simply with the straight wires. And how much is my EMF in that case? EMF will be your V cross B dot L. So that is going to be some simple versions, simple expressions. Okay, most of the time this case is applicable. Okay, or if you don't have a V cross B constants, then V cross B is inside the integrations. If V cross B is it's going to be my constants, then you have simple version V cross B dot L. Okay. So it's a triple product. There is a cross and there is a dot also. Okay, and it's a scalar quantity. So related to that, there is a little small questions are there. It's very easy questions. And compared to Faraday's law, the things get easier. Suppose I say there is a rod. Okay, that is a rod. And this rod is moving in a magnetic field. It's moving in a magnetic field, length of the rod here is. Now in this situations, which side is positive and which side is negative? We have rod AB. Okay, so as my rod is moving, so can you tell me what happened to my this rod? How much EMF is there? And where is my positive terminal and where is the negative terminals? Find the motional EMF. Find the motional EMF. So in that motional EMF, which side is your positive terminals? So for the positive terminals, what is the direction of positive terminal? In the direction of V cross B. And this direction of V cross B, we can give here by right hand thumb rules, right? Okay, we can give here by right hand thumb rules. So you can give the direction of the EMF as a direction of your right hand thumb rules. You can rotate the fingers from V to B. If I'm rotating my finger from V to B, so direction of my thumb will give me the EMF value, right? So that is a simple thumb rule we can apply once again. So you can rotate your fingers as you are going to rotating your fingers from V toward the B. The thumb will give me the EMF directions, motional EMF directions. Okay? Once again, right hand thumb rules. So where is my V cross B is going? In this directions, my velocity is toward the right side. The magnetic field is inward. So if you rotate your fingers, my thumb is coming in the upward direction or not? V cross B is upward. So who is the positive terminal? A positive terminal, B negative terminals. Right? A positive terminal and B negative terminals. So I can say that this rod is behaving as a battery, and this battery is going to be on my V cross B dot L. If I'm going to be open first, this cross, if you open the cross, angle between your velocity and magnetic field is 90 degree. If I open the dot, angle is 0 degree. So this is important here, 0 degree. How it is coming is 0 degree. They go L, you have to take the L vector from negative terminal to positive terminals, right? Just take here, this is my L vectors, AB vectors. So L vector is from negative to positive terminals. And my V cross B is in the direction of positive to negative to positive terminals, length directions. So this angle is coming out to be a 0 degree. So if you open V cross B, so V cross B, it will give me VB sine 90, and L, it will give me a cos 0 degree. So we have VBL is the EMF. Yes, Akash.
Sir, how you are taking charge on the rod, sir? Means how you got to know that downside only negative will come?
That is what I'm telling you, beta. Here, what is the direction of my EMF? The direction of EMF is in the direction of magnetic forces. Okay, V cross B directions.
Yes, sir.
Go back to the phenomena once again. Here's how, why positive charges come this side and negative charges come this side. Magnetic forces are separating the positive and negative. So in the direction of magnetic force, my positive and negative charges are going to be get separated, right? So in
Yes,
short, I can say, the direction of EMF is the direction of V cross B, right?
yes, sir.
So just find out the direction of V cross B. In the direction of V cross B, you have positive terminals. Opposite, you have negative terminals.
Sir, and in the direction of B, sir, the electron will move, sir.
Electron move opposite to the V cross B. Magnetic force, what is the magnetic force, beta? Magnetic force is Q times V cross B. Positive charges moves in the direction of V cross B, and negative charges move opposite to V cross B. So negative charges accumulate against the V cross B, and positive charges accumulate in the direction of V cross B. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so positive terminal is in the direction of V cross B, and negative terminals opposite to the V cross B. Okay, understand? So in this case, I'm going to have a V cross B. What is the direction of V cross B? Anyone have a doubt in the direction of V cross B? It's simple right hand thumb rules. Rotate the finger from velocity into magnetic field is inwards, rotate inward. So V cross B here inward. So V cross B is upward. So positive charges accumulate here upward, right? I hope, is it okay? Yeah. Now in this case, shape matter. If I take the rod in this shape, is it going to matter? If we take this type of shape, is the thing is going to matter? No, shape here is not at all going to be matters. Shape is not at all matters. So now take here one case with the irregular shape. Let's say I'm going to be have a rod this shape. This is my AB. See, AB is here. Now this is here is my AB, and my AB is let's moving. This whole structure is moving in this directions. Velocity is this way. Magnetic field is into the papers, and it is making an angle of, let's say, theta. So AB is a wire. Okay. So find the motional EMF. Find the motional EMF between the AB. Between A and B. That's right. The first thing I told you here is, if my V and B is a constant, V cross B constant or not? Magnetic field is constant, velocity is constant, angle between them is constant. So V cross B is a constant. So if your V cross B is a constant, shape does not matter. Okay? If it is constant, shape does not matter. So what we can do is, so the whole of this curve you can simply replaced by a simple rod AB. Okay? So this is the length AB, you can replace it. So whole of the structure we can simply replace here with the AB. So forget about this shape and simply replace here with the AB. So replacing with the AB, okay? So I can now say once again, here's AB. So here is my A and here is my B is there. Where is the velocity? It's going to be have velocity in this way, making an angle here theta. Where is the magnetic fields? Magnetic field is into the papers. So this time, what is my V cross B? V cross B, where V cross B? Right hand thumb rules, okay? Tenga rules. So apply the Tenga rule here. Rotate the finger from velocity toward the magnetic fields. If I rotate my fingers, okay, first finger in the direction of velocity, rotate it. So thumb come toward the right side, left side, sorry. So I'm getting here the thumb coming in this direction here, okay? V cross B, perpendicular to velocity, perpendicular to magnetic field. Yes, Rupesh. Hello. Okay, so this is my V cross B directions. But here in this case, what happened? In the direction of my V cross B, positive charges are going to be moved because it's a metal, right? It is going to be metal. So ultimately, they are going to be accumulate here on the A side. Negative terminal is going to be accumulate on the B side, right? Correct? And who is going to my L vectors? My L vector is coming out to be here my BA. So that means comes as a vector BA. And angle between them, you can see here, this is my 90 minus theta. So V cross B and L, angle is coming out to be a 90 minus theta. So I can say here my EMF is V cross B dot L. So first of all, what is the angle between that velocity and magnetic fields? Velocity and magnetic field. Velocity and magnetic field, they are perpendiculars. So if you open this cross, angle is 90 degree. If you open here the dot, so for dot, what is the angles? For my dot, angle is 90 minus theta. Okay? Opening the dot. So I can say what is my EMF? If we open the cross product, it will give me VB sine theta. If I'm going to open the dot product, it will give me here AB cos theta, and angle between the length and V cross B. Length vectors, here is the length vectors. Length vector and V cross B, the angle is 90 minus theta. So cos 90 minus theta. When you open the dot, it will give cos. When you open the cross, it will give sine. See, so what is my EMF value? EMF value is a VBL sine theta. Right? So who is the positive terminal here? Who is the positive terminals? A become my positive terminals. So first thing you notice that shape not matter. Okay? When shape is not matter, always you can't apply that rules. When shape is not matter if my V cross B is a constant. So I can replace that curve with a simple rod AB.
Sir, I
you
didn't
sure?
understand why you have taken A as positive and B as negative so here.
A as a positive and B as a negative. Acha, what I told you, tell me. What is the criteria?
So along V cos B, positive will be, sir. In the direction of V cos B, positive will be.
I think then you are not understanding the phenomena. Completely you miss the phenomena. What is the phenomena? Have you listened to the phenomena?
Yes,
What is
sir.
the phenomena in this case? Magnetic forces move the charges. And what is the direction of a magnetic forces? If you have magnetic forces, positive charge move in the direction of V cross B, negative charge moves in the direction opposite to V cross B, right?
Yes,
So positive charge accumulate toward the V cross B directions and negative charges accumulate opposite to that. So in the direction of V cross B, we can also think this way here. In the direction of V cross B, opposite to the direction of V cross B, you have electric fields. If you want to go here more exactly, electric field is opposite to V cross B. So in the direction of V cross B, you have high potentials. In the direction opposite to the V cross B, you have a low potentials. Okay? More exactly, if you want to understand here. So my potentials always, or my electric field always go from high potential to low potential. And this electric field is against the V cross B. So V cross B always direct toward the high potentials. That means I can say my EMF, the battery EMF, the positive terminal of the battery will be toward the V cross B. Okay?
yes, sir.
So when I'm writing here positive, I mean to say here positive terminal of the battery. This here is a negative terminal of the battery. Okay? This A point in the direction of V cross B. So this A behave as a positive terminals. This behave as a negative terminals.
Yes, sir.
Understand?
Yes, sir.
It is a terminal sign I'm writing. Oh yes or not?
Sir, in the last diagram, the left side of the rod should be positive, no, sir, like not only A point.
This rod is behaving as a battery. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in that battery, which side is positive?
The left side of the rod, sir.
Left side of the rod. V cross B is, where is the V cross B?
Left side.
Left side. So in the direction of V cross B, you have high potentials. So this side, in the direction of V cross B, you have high potentials. So if I replace that with the battery, if I just think of it as a battery, my rod is behaving as a battery. So this terminal is behaving as a battery. Okay? A side is going to have positive terminals and B side is going to behave as a negative terminal. Because
Yes.
potential is higher in the direction of V cross B and potential is lower against the V cross B directions, right?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
So anyone else have a doubt here? Yes, Rupesh.
Sir, if the moving object is not a wire or not, which length you have to
Yes. That is a good question here. Which length you are going to be considered? Because here it's a give me a battery. Suppose on more case we can consider here. Next question you can think like that only. So one more question we can consider here. Okay. To understand your doubt, we can take here one more questions. So this question we don't take any wire, we don't take any rod. Suppose I take a disc. This is a disc. And this disc is made up of metal. This is a disk of radius r, and it is a metal disk. Now to make it here a little bit of first of all, let's take a simple situations. Let's say it is going to be moving in my this directions, and magnetic field you have is a cross perpendicular magnetic field we have. Now in this case, this is a disk. It is not going to be any rod, or it is not a wires. So here, find the EMF. Find the motional EMF between I take here 4 points, A, B, C, and D. I can take here the 4 points. So find the motional EMF between your AB, between, first you can take it here as AC, between AB, between BD. Okay, so these 3 cases, you can find out the motional EMF. So when I am going to be see here my motional EMF, means I'm connecting the resistance between the AC. Suppose you have battery, so you connect the resistance between the terminals of the battery. No? So if we want to find out the motional EMF between AC, so I'm connecting the resistance between the AC. I connect resistance like AC. When I'm finding the motional EMF between the AB, I am connecting the resistance between the AB. When I'm finding out the potential difference between the BD, I'm connecting the resistance between BD. Okay. This radius can confuse you with the resistance, so you can change the symbol of the radius. Let's say A. A is the symbol of the radius. I hope you understand the point here. That's my disk. So it's a completely, here is my 2D body. Whatever we are going to learn from the disk, we can apply to the sphere also. It is going to work in the same way. So first of all, you can see here, where is my V cross P? In which direction you have V cross P? So direction of V cross P, if we notice here, the phenomena, and the phenomena says that in the direction of V cross P, you have a positive charges are moving. My magnetic field is inward, velocity is there. So V cross B is in the upward directions. So everywhere there is an electric field. Everywhere there is an electric field, and this electric field here is a downward, right? Now if I want to take here the case number 1, AC. So between A to C, you are going to take here this length, right? So you can replace here, this is my A, here is my C. So you have to be just integrate on the electric field from A to C. So if you are integrating here from A to C, so you can replace it with the simple one here, AC. Shape is not matter. Okay, my V cross B is in the direction of my C to A. V cross B is C to A, and the length is going to be here my diameter. AC is the diameters, right? So this side is behave as a low terminal, negative terminal. This side is behaving as my upper terminals, and I'm going to have a length from C to A. That's my length is theirs. So I can say the EMF between the AC, which is V cross B dot L. So when we opening here the V cross B, V and B are 90 degrees, so cross is simply VB, sine 90. But if you open here the dot, so for this dot, what is the length? I'm integrating on this length. No? Potential is created by these electric fields. So I'm integrating from A to C. Okay? So I'm integrating here from A to C. So A to C you can replace with this rod. So this 2D body can also be replaced here with the straight rod. And it is going to behave as a VBL. L is going to be my 2A. So is it okay? Right? Second case between AB. If I take it here my AB, so for the AB, So A and B, I'm going to be have a V cross B still in the same direction here, but I'm going to be take it here between A, B. So this is going to be my terminals. So B terminal is going to be my negative one, and A terminal is going to be my positive ones. So you can replace that with the rod A, B. Length of the AB become here root 2A, and I'm going to be have a V cross B making an angle of 45 degree, and my length, okay, negative terminal to positive terminals. So if you are having a terminals, if you want to find out the EMF between the A, B, so what is the length comes out to be? Root 2A. Direction of the length is from negative toward the positive, right? So that comes out to be here my L vectors. So again, we can open here and we can write out here the EMF between the AB. EMF is V cross B dot L. Angle between the A and B, this angle is 90 degree, but if you open the dot, for dot, how much angle is this? 0, 90 or 45? If we open the dot, now dot here is between my AB vectors. You're finding out the potential difference between the AB vectors. And this potential difference is created by my electric field, which exists everywhere. Okay, which exists everywhere, right? But we are not every time calculating from the electric fields. We are calculating from the V cross P. So understand how much length it is making with the V cross P. So with the V cross P, this AB vector makes an angle of 45 degree. So this dot is making an angle of 45 degree. So I can say here VB sine 90 degree, right? L is root 2A. L here is a root 2A, and cos 45 degree. So I'm going to be have a potential VBA, right? That's my EMF between the point AB. You can go back to the electrostatic and you can find out from the electric field also. Okay, so this formula is nothing but potential formula only. E dot dl, nothing new formula. Okay. So understand the concept behind the formula also. Remember the reason behind the formula also. Okay, don't purely go as a mathematicals. Right? The third part you can tell me here between BD, potential difference between the BD. That's quite easy here. Yes or not?
Sir, 0, sir.
0, right? 0. So simple logically, if I think here without any formula, if I think here, where is my electric field? My electric field exists in this directions. The direction of electric field is opposite to my V cross B directions. And my BD are on the same equipotential lines. Okay, BD are on the perpendicular to electric fields. Perpendicular to the electric field, you have a same potentials that we know from the electrostatics concepts. If you move perpendicular to the electric field, you have same potential. So they are equipotential surface. If I go by formula, so what we can do is that you can replace here BD with the vector. V cross B is perpendicular to my L vectors. Okay, so what is my EMF? EMF is V cross B dot L. So this angle cross is a 90 degree, dot is also 90 degree. If you open the dot with a 90 degree, it will give 0 cos 90, 0. Okay, but what is the conceptual reason behind that EMF 0? Conceptual reason is this is perpendicular to my electric field. If I take a terminal at the B and D, so they are going to be have a perpendicular electric field. So no potential difference is created between the BD. So I hope is it point okay, clear? Right? Anyone have a doubt here how to use this relation V cross B dot L? So we can twist here slightly the situations. One special case is theirs. The motional EMF of a rotating disk, rotating rod. Motional EMF of a rotating rod. Not a new concept, but it is a useful. Lots of problems are linked with that rotating rod, so you can think of it as a special case. Yeah, not a new concept, just a special case. So suppose we have a rod, and I'm going to be rotate this rod. So this is my rod is here, and you are rotating about the end A with some omega. Rotation is there. It has a length L, and for simple situation, you can consider our magnetic field is perpendicular to this plane. So magnetic field is perpendicular to the planes. Now in this case, as it is rotating, so what you say, how it is behaving? It's a rotating, and this rotating rod is behaving as a, this rotating rod is going to behave as a battery. The reason is simple. Every point in this rod is going to be have velocity, right? If you take any point, it's going to be have velocity. I can take here a point which has some, let me consider here some point. If I take any point over here, so there is a velocity, and this velocity is going to be, depends upon my distance from the axis here. So let me take here some very small point I can consider here. Okay? This point is a C. So this point has a velocity, that's my x omega, because we are moving in a circle of radius x with the omega. So velocity is the x omega. The magnetic field is into, so where is my V cross B? V cross B, if you take here the V cross B, rotate the finger from velocity toward the B, it will give me V cross B in the outward directions. If V cross B is outward directions, my electric field is going to be in the downward direction. So there is an electric field also. So we have electric fields. So in the direction of electric field, your potential decreases. Against the direction of electric field, your potential increases. So in short, I can say in the direction of V cross B, you have positive terminal. So B behave as a positive terminal and A behave as a negative terminals. But in this case, if you notice here, velocity is changing. So my V cross B is not a constant thing. So V cross B is not constant. So because it is not constant, so I can't simply do it. What we can do is, we can take it here as a V cross B as a differential length I can consider here. On the small length we can find out, and then I can integrate for the total EMF. There is a little care you have to do it, because velocity is, because velocity here is my variables. Again, so V cross B has variables, so you need to take a integration on the whole terms. So for that purpose, we need to take here small elements. So what is the best element you can guess? It's very easy here. We can guess here elements with the thickness of our dx. That is the best elements. Radius x, thickness dx. radius x, thickness here dx. That's my basic elements. So in this direction, I can take here cross. If you open this cross, so this cross give me a 90 degree, and this dot give me a 0 degree. So you can say here it's a VBDL. Velocity x omega, magnetic field constants, length dx. That gives me here EMF. In this EMF, integration is quite easy because it's simply x dx. So x, you can take it here from 0 to the full length. So you can give me here the EMF. And how much is the EMF here? It's a half B omega L squares. This is the EMF. See? That's my EMF. But that is the EMF of full rod. If I take it here as a partial rod, again, not a full rod, just take a partial rod. So what happened for the partial rod? Not a much difference. If you're going to have a integration on the partial rod, so you can take integration from L1 to L2, that's it. You don't take integrations from x equal to 0, right? What I mean to say that, suppose I want to find out here, this is my point A and B. So I want to find out here between the CD, just between the CD. So distance, C has a radius R1 and D has a radius R2. So I can integrate from the radius R1 to the radius R2. So no need to go for the full one. Okay. So R1 is the radius of my C and R2 becomes the radius of my D. So you can do the integration from R1 to R2. So for partial also, you can find out the EMF. So it is R2 square minus R1 square by 2. So half B omega R2 square minus R1 square. So why we can do this partial integrations? No, we are not doing partial integration. We are integrating on the partial rod. So reason is electric field exists everywhere. Electric field exists everywhere in the rod. If I integrate from Ax equal to 0 to the total length, it will give me a full potential difference between the AB. If I integrate from midpoint to the midpoint, then only this part contributed by the electric fields. The potential difference is depending upon the path of integration, point of integrations. So for the full rod, it's a half B omega L squares, and for the partial rod, I can say it's a half B omega R2 square minus R1 squares. Oh, yes or not?
So in this, how will the electric field depend upon EMF depend upon the shape, sir? Because V bar cross V bar is not constant.
So it is depends upon the shape. Yes. So there is a one question we can discuss here. So this part you understand here?
Yes.
Chale. If there is a rod, then we can find out the EMF. And he asked a very genuine doubt. If it is not a rod, then how to deal? So as a special case, you can consider here. So instead of rod, let's say it's going to be curve. And as a curve, it is rotating. Then what should I do? So what is the EMF developed in the curve situations? If magnetic field is still perpendicular. Now in that situation, we can put here a little trick. Okay, what is the trick? We can how much Sara beta? Where you have it out? Which point you have it out? Hello. In case if it is going to be a random shape, suppose rotating, and in my random shape, a wire of random shape is rotating, but my ends are fixed. So here we can apply here the one trick. Trick is, just imagine we're going to have a closed loop. Okay, it's going to have my closed loops. So in this closed loop, you can have a EMF generated here this way. Let's say this is behave as a 1/3, and this is behave as a 1/3. So if it is a closed loop, so what is the Kirchhoff law say in the closed loop? Net should be 0, right? My Kirchhoff law says these two batteries are going to behave as a series combination, right? So if my two batteries are making here a series combinations, E1 and E2 makes a series combinations. And in my closed loop, net should be here my 0. How can we say it is 0? That is a Kirchhoff property, na? In a Kirchhoff, if you're going to be moving the Kirchhoff loop rules, so my Kirchhoff loop rules say that net potential change is 0. So you can apply here KVL rules, Kirchhoff voltage rules. So from the Kirchhoff voltage rule, I can say that E1, so EMF of the 1 and EMF of the 2, net must be 0, right? So meaning thereby, if I'm going to be here crossing with this, let me write the equation with the sign. If I am going to be here crossing the first ones, you are crossing in the positive directions. I'm crossing here in the opposite directions. So it's a plus E2 minus E1 with the sign, and net should be my 0. So I'm getting E2 and E1s both are same, right? So meaning thereby, I can replace this whole structure with the rod. So here also I can replace here this whole of the structure you can replace with that straight wires AB. So this curved part still could be replaced here with the AB, right? I hope you understand this point here, logic. Here direct we don't have any method to find out for this irregular shape, but we have a logic here. And this is the logic of my Kirchhoff voltage rules. So Kirchhoff voltage rule says that if I make it a closed structures, so in that closed structures, your net potential should be 0. So they must be 0. And this is only going to be 0 if E2 and E1s are equal. Otherwise, it's not possible to be 0. I hope you understand here the logic. Yes or
Sir,
not?
can you explain once again, sir?
So take a listen, beta. What is my, here is a point is, if it is an irregular shape rod or wire of irregular shape is rotating about the A. So what is its EMF? So directly it gets complicated to find out. So what we do is we are taking here the little logic. The logic is I'm going to make a closed structures with that AB rod. So in this closed loop, what is your voltage rule say? Kirchhoff voltage rules. Kirchhoff voltage rule says that net potentials are going to be a 0. So net EMF is also going to be a 0. So I can say that the total potential in my closed loop should be 0. Or in this case, this E2 and E1, they're making a kind of series combinations. If I'm crossing E2, it will give me a positive polarity. If I'm crossing here E1, it will give me negative polarity. And we can apply KVL rules. E2 give me positive polarity, E1 give negative polarity, and net should be 0. So it give me here E2 and E1 are same. Okay, so I can replace this curved with the straight rod. Okay,
For each
we can
battery,
replace the
21
curved
batteries.
structure with the. So the moving conductor behave as a battery, right?
Yes, sir.
So this whole is going to behaving as a one battery. And this AB is behaving as another battery. Are these two battery equal?
Yes.
Yes, they are equal according to my KVL rules. Kirchhoff voltage rule, edges must be equal. Okay.
Sir,
So I
then for
can,
any
based on
body,
this
we can do
logic,
this. No, sir.
yes, yes, you can, as long as logic continue, you can apply it. So I can say here, this curved structures, you can replaced by a rod, straight rod. So if the body has a rotations, rod has a rotation, then any shape of rod you can replace with a straight rod. Is it okay? Clear?
Yes, sir. Understood.
Here in this questions, once again, you can listen here what is the question says. A rotating rod is going to make a very important case. Lot of question you can find where rod is rotating. Lot of twisted questions will be there on this concept, but it's very easy. Slightly you have to be take care. When the rod is rotating, I can take a differential part and find out its EMF. Why we are taking differential part? The simple reason is as you are moving in circles, you have different speed. Okay. So if you are in a circle of radius x, your speed is a x omega. So speed is x omega. If you take a v cross b, so v cross b is also going to be variable. It is x omega b. So v cross b is not a constant thing here. So when v cross b is not a constant thing, so you have to integrate for the total EMF. Okay, you need to integrate for the total EMF. So I need a differential part. So I take a differential dx here, dx. And for this dx, I can say my velocity is x omega. Magnetic field and the velocity, they are at 90-degree angles. And direction of v cross b is in the direction of my dx. Okay, v cross b direction is same as dx. And the dx here is my dl. So if you open the cross, it will give sine theta. If you open the dot, it will give cos 0 degree. So overall, this triple product is a simple product, normal product, VB dl. Velocity x omega, magnetic field B, and length dx. Integrations is give me here x square by 2. If you put the limit upper to lower, it will give me L square by 2. So that's my full rod. If I take a partial rod, you don't want to take here the full EMF, just we want to take here partial integration from C to D. So you can do the integration from R1 to R2. Okay? So for the full, it is half B omega L squares. And for the partial, I can say it is half B omega R2 square minus R1 square. In terms of radius, it is more conceptual relations. Okay? So in terms of radius, it is better. You remember in terms of radius. So next here, the criteria is that if rod is not having a straight line, it is going to be curved, then how to deal with that? So this is a curved rod, you can replace with the straight wires, no problem. Okay, easily you can do it. Okay, I hope you understand the point, yes? Yes, Shiva.
Sir, if the rod is hinged at the center and they ask the induced EMF at the ends, means then what should we do, sir?
We are coming to the problems. Okay, I'll give you this one problems. Try that. So different shapes, they can ask you the EMF. Again, different points they can ask you the EMF. Suppose this is going to be a one case. I can ask you, here is a, let's say we have a rod in the shape of my L shape rod. This is my L shape rod is there. I can give it a name here, A. This is B. This is C. So let's say it is going to be rotating about my A point. You can rotate about the B point also. Let's first rotate about the A point. If it is rotating about the A point and my magnetic field is perpendicular, this length is L1, this length is L2. So find find the EMF between A and B, between A and C, between B and C. Find the EMF between A and B, between A and C, and between B and C. Very easily you can give me here. So any curve you can replace with the straight wires. Okay? Between AB, it is already straight wires. Okay? And you can notice here one thing. In the result, I told you my EMF is half B omega R2 square minus R1 square. So this omega is only depends upon the radial depends upon radial distance. Okay? This result is only depending upon the radial distance. So angle does not matter. If you have a same distance, radial distance, your EMF will be same, right? EMF is going to be here same. So first of all, first point is quite easy here between AB. If I think of between AB, A has a 0 radius, B has a L1 radius. So what is my EMF between AB? Very easy, we can give here EMF between the AB, it's very clear. A rotates with the 0 radius and my B rotate with the L1 radius. So I'm going to have EMF half B omega L1 squares. So positive negative is also important here. So positive is toward the V cross B directions. If we take here V cross B directions, so which side is positive? From A to B, it is rotating clockwise. Magnetic field is inward, and direction of my V cross B here is toward the B. So B is positive, right? B is positive, A is negative. So I can say here with the B positive, A negative, that's my EMF. Okay. For second case, between AC, we have a shape, and shape is not matter. Okay, shape is not matter. What is matter is the radial distance. So you can replace that ABC with the single rod AC. So EMF actual rod created, the EMF created by this actual rod is same as EMF created by this AC rod. So I can say here EMF between the AC is the same as the EMF created by the AC rod, direct rod. Okay, direct rod you can take between AC. And again, in this case also, the direction is positive. Toward the V cross B, you have a positive sign. So C is behave as a positive terminal, A behave as a negative terminals. So between my AC, what is my EMF between AC? It's a half B omega, and it's going to be the radius of my C. It's under root of L1 plus L2 squares, and A radius is 0. So ultimately, the EMF between them, we can say it's a half B omega L1 square plus L2 squares, correct? The third case is between my BC. Okay, between my BC. So between the BC, if we want to find out here the potential difference between the BC. So one way is to deal here is, what is the potential difference between the BC? I can say it is the potential difference between the AC and potential difference between the AB. Potential difference between the AC minus the potential difference between the AB. I know C is at high potential compared to A. I know B is high potential compared to A, right? We know, na? C has a high potential compared to A, and how much? And I know the B potential is high compared to A. So I can find out the potential difference between the CB. and that will become my EMF between the CB. So it's same as EMF between the CA minus EMF between the BA. CA EMF is half B omega L1 square plus L2 square, and BA EMF between the BA, how much is that? It is half B omega L1 squares. So L1 here is going to be cancelling out. So what is left here is, it's a half B omega L2 square left. Right? Very simple logic is there. Okay. Slightly the things are going to be twisted, not a much twist. Very simple twist is there. So for any particular shape, you can find out the potential difference. Yes, Shiva.
Sir, in the third case, by using formula, we cannot solve, sir.
You can solve by using the formula also. But how to apply the formula, I tell you the logic behind it. You understand this is one logic here?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Rupesh.
Sir,
Yes, bolo beta.
sir, for a closed loop rotating about its axis on its surface, then total EMF will be zero, no, sir?
That depends upon how you are calculating. No, EMF depends
So,
upon
but it is a
the point,
closed
which
loop, no,
point you have
the
taken.
net closed wire loop.
So it depends करता है ना which you are taking here this wire loop you are saying.
Yes.
Yes, for closed structures it will be zero. It could be a zero.
Between any points.
I understand your point, what you are asking. Yes, okay. Just wait. Few more questions we can discuss. In this topic, what we are discussing is that moving rod, moving wires, moving objects, they behave as a battery. How much battery they generate, we are discussing about that. When they are behaving as a battery, so their battery behavior is for some outside resistance, right? Understand? When I say here the rod is moving, it is behaving as a battery. So it is a battery not for inside, it is a battery for outside resistance. So is it okay? Understand the point? Yes. If I ask you here, what is the current in this rod? Suppose I ask you in the same problems, what is the current in the rod from A to C? So current in the rod A to C is a zero. But it is behaving as a battery, and it is behaving as a battery for something outside if we connect some resistance here outside. So current part we can come in a minute to the current also. Just first you understand here the EMF part, then we can go to the current. Oh yes, Uday.
In the direction of V cross B in reverse, no, sir. V cross B should be from C to A.
V cross B is the same direction. It is going to be the same direction. Here you take it here. V
The
cross
velocity
B.
will be tangential and B will be inwards, no, sir.
So it is going to be in the same direction. No? Here is a AC. Okay, and how it is moving? It's going to be moving this way. The direction. This is my omega. So velocity is tangent downward. No? Magnetic field we have taken downward. So where's the V cross B? V cross B is toward the C. Velocity is tangent.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, velocity is tangent. That's why V cross B along the radius.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, so anyone else have it out here? How to find out here the EMF? So if you're getting here confusion with the current, so we can discuss here the current also. But one more case of EMF I want to discuss, very special and important. Then we can go to the current part also. So let's say we are going to have a ring, and this ring is going to be have a rolling. This is going to be your ground. Okay, remember rotation. So it's going to be have a translatory motions, and it's going to be have a rotatory motions. And this is your ring is theirs, metal ring. So I'm going to have this metal ring, and this metal ring is rotating in the magnetic fields, which is perpendicular to the plane of the ring, right? So let's say we have a linear velocity and omega, both are there. Separately, we have already analyzed what is the effect happen for separate V and separate omega. Now we have combined translation plus rotations. So due to the omega, I have taken the effect. Okay. Now due to the translation also, we have separately seen the effects. If they are coming together, then what happens? Then what is the effect? So before we go to the ring, you can take your disk first. First case you can consider here as a disk. Here in this situations, in the rotation chapter, if you remember, there are velocities which are independent in this two. Translation and rotations are independent. Their velocities are independent. So in rotation, we know that concept. Velocities are independent, and their velocity is independently have a force effect. Their velocity is going to be independently everything, energy independent, force independence. And in this chapters, it is also going to be have a independent EMF. So EMF created by the V and omega are independent, totally independent phenomena. You can break down into a two parts. How can we say that? Because in the rotation chapter, if you go back in the 11th, so this velocity, translation kinetic energy is independent of your rotation kinetic energy. Translation forces are independent of your rotation forces. Translation torques are independent. Everything is independent. No? Angular momentum, translation, and rotation, independent angular momentums. So all that mechanical properties here are independent. And this EMF is created by the electrical force, because forces of translation and rotations are independent. So I can say EMF is independent. So you can solve that problems separately. You can break down the rotation and translation separately here also. So if you're going to break down translation velocity and the rotation velocity, okay, so independently we can analyze. So question here is, we have to find the EMF. Find the EMF, and EMF is always found between our 2 points. So which 2 points? So I can consider here 1 point here is O. 1 point I can consider here top. The 1 point I can consider the bottom. 1 point I can consider here C. Here is a D. So find the EMF between OA, second between AB, third you can consider here OC, fourth you can consider here as a BC, fifth you can consider here as a CD. So many combinations are possible, but in that 5 you can cover all the cases. What is my EMF? Okay, what is my EMF between OA, AB, OC, BC, and CD? And to analyze them, you can see separate effect of translation and rotations. So we know by rotations, at the first we can say here by translations. If I know here by translations, so what is the effect of my translations? Effect of my translation is 1 point, if I'm going to be compared, what is the effect here is? You can take it here as a V cross B. In the direction of V cross B, you can take a length. So EMF is given as a V cross B dot L. In this in the direction here. So where is my V cross B? V cross B is going in my upward directions, right? So if you have taken here the dot product, so only length parallel to V cross B only contribute potentials. So length perpendicular to the V cross B does not contribute, right? So easy way to remember here is V cross B. There is a length parallel, and V cross B, there is a length perpendicular. If I take here a length perpendicular to V cross B, so its contribution is 0. And length parallel to the V cross B, its contribution only going to be this. So here, I can see that between AO, length is my radius. Okay? Length here is my radius. You can think of radius as a A. See, between AO, length is my radius. Parallel length is between AO, my parallel distance here is the radius. Between BA, my parallel length is a diameters. Between CA, my parallel length, between CA, two component lengths are there. Perpendicular component does not contribute, only parallel component contributes, it's my R. So EMF between the OA and OC, it's the same, right? Okay, can you see that way or not? So that's going to make here things a little faster here. So potential difference between the AO is the same as between AC. It is same as between AT. But what is the potential between my OC? It is 0 because length is perpendicular to V cross B, and perpendicular length does not contribute. So OC 0, OD 0, and DC is also 0. Right? So if you have a translatory motion, in the translatory motion, the length parallel to the V cross B contributes, length perpendicular to the V cross B does not contribute. Right? Just like a finding out the work. Na? So if you have a potential is like a work only. Okay? Potential is like a work. This formula is just like a work, F dot S. So here is a force terms, force on the unit charge into my length. So it is just like a work, force per unit charge into displacements. So work is only done if you have a displacement in the direction of force. If you don't have a displacement in the direction of force, work is 0. Right? So you can treat V cross B like a force only. Now in the rotations, we know that in the rotation, what happens? We know EMF is created in the radial directions. So if you go from inward to outward, then potential change. So on same radius, there is no potentials. Okay? Potential only change when you change the radius. If radius constants, no EMF. So for same radius, we have same potential. So same EMF, same radius gives 0 EMF. So if I find out the EMF between AC, it is 0. If we find out the EMF between BC, it is 0. If we find out the EMF between any 2 points on the circumference, it is 0. So it is only with respect to the center you have EMF, right? Okay. And in this case, your V cross B directions, if you think of V cross B directions, my V cross B is going in my outward direction, radially outward directions. So radially outward directions, so potential is increasing in the outward directions. So sign of potential is also important. Outward positive, inward negative. Here in this case, translatory motions, toward the A potential is positive, toward the B potential is negative. So now we can write here first situations between OA. Between OA, if I write here between OA, so EMF due to rotation and translations. translation and rotations. What is my translation? Compositions. So when I say here OA, so I mean to say here from O to A. O to A. Okay. So A high potential, B O low potentials. So due to translation, what is my EMF? It's a length in the direction of V cross B. Here is my radius. So it will be V cross B. V cross B is a VB only. Radius. And it is positive. Toward the A side, it is positive. And because of rotation from center to outside is also positive. O radius 0 and A radius is A only. So it is also give me a positive contributions. It's a half B omega square A squares. That is my potential of OA. Okay, is it okay? Anyone have a doubt here? Is it okay? Oh yes, Shiva.
Sir, it's B omega A squared, sir, not omega squared.
Sorry, it is not omega square. You're right. B omega. Half B omega radius, final radius square minus initial radius square. But for AB part, if I go here for AB part, means A to B. So again, translation and rotation. If I write for translation from A to B, so B to A, sorry. Oh, you want to write here A to B or B to A? If you want to write here from A to B, means you are going toward the B. If I go from B to A, then I'm writing here this way from B to A. So B to A is a positive, so you can write it here as a BA. B to A. If you go here from B to A, so B to A, this length is parallel to my V cross V, that's my diameters. So EMF is VB diameters, and my rotations, for my rotations, B has a radius, A has a radius, okay? So on the same radial distance, you have same potential, so it is 0. So due to rotation, no contributions. Rotation does not contribute any potentials. So third case I can consider is between OC. Between here OC. So for OC, we know that how we are going. From OC, the length is perpendicular to V cross B, and perpendicular length does not contribute, only parallel contributes. So for OC, you have same potentials, no EMF. OC, due to translation, I don't have any EMF. But due to rotations, you have EMF. O is having a 0 radius, C is going to have a radius. So I can say, due to my translation, EMF is 0, and because of rotation, it's a half B omega A squares. Right? Fourth part is my BC. BC, okay? So translations and rotations, 2. If I go here for B to C, in this direction here, B to C, right? For translations, 2 components of lengths are there, perpendicular and parallels. Perpendicular does not contribute, parallel only contribute, and this parallel is my radius. So V cross B into this radius. Parallel have 0 contributions. So I can say my translations EMF is VBA. And due to rotation, what happens? Due to rotation, no contribution, because in my rotation, your EMF developed in the radially away directions. So B and C have the same radius, so it is 0. So BC is 0. Rotation contribution is 0. So the fifth one, I think last one is this. So I hope you can find out for any case now. CD. So CD, you can tell me. So for CD, what is the contribution of translations? CD is perpendicular to my V cross P, and it is no contribution due to translations. C and D, they have same radial distance. So it is also 0. So translation 0, rotation 0, net is also going to be 0. Translation 0, rotation 0. So I hope you understand the logic behind this translation and rotations. If you understand the logic of the translation and rotation, how they are generating the EMF, you can see their combined effect also. When they're combining in their combinations, they are behaving independently. Okay, nothing new phenomena is coming, nothing new results are coming. So only independently they are adding up. Only take care about the sign. Yes, Sunat.
Sir, for BC, it must be root 2n, sir.
For BC, for the BC, see Rita. For the BC, if you consider this length is root 2a. If you take a dot product, so only the component along the BC direction contributes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that is it okay? So I hope is it okay clear? No one have a doubt here? So now we understand how it is creating the EMF. So how it is creating the current? For current, you need to apply resistance. It is this moving conductor, this moving rod, moving thing, the moving disc, they are behaving as a battery. Okay? And this battery give current if you put the resistance. If you don't put the resistance, it does not generate any current. So no current is there inside the structures. All the cases we have discussed, there is zero current inside them. Current comes if you connect with the resistance. If you connect positive terminal with the negative terminals, then resistance comes. Otherwise, it's not going to have any resistance coming. So connecting the resistance is also an important one, because where you connect, that play a very important role. Yes, Akash.
So once can you explain ER for the second one, sir?
From B to A.
Yes, sir.
So for B to A, just notice here, B to A. So due to my translation motions, this length is parallel to my V cross B. Okay. So what is my EMF? V cross B dot. So it is going to be VB into this length, total length, parallel length.
Yes, sir.
Now A and B, they have a same radial distance. So what is in my rotations, as you go away in the radius directions, your EMF develop. So same radius, same EMF, same potentials. So between AB, they have same radius. No? Between AB, so what is the EMF? 0 because of rotation. Okay?
Yes.
With respect to the O, this formula will give me the rotations if you go from the radius. If you don't change the radius, it is not going to have any EMF. For same radial distance, you have same EMF. So quickly we can discuss about the current. Okay. So how you are getting here the current? Very easy. So let's say I'm going to have a rod is there, and current could be used for capacitor, it could be used for resistance, doesn't matter. Okay. Or it could be used for both. So let's take it here both cases. We can combine this together. Capacitor is theirs, okay? And this resistance theirs. So let me consider there is a magnetic field everywhere, perpendiculars. And let me consider here a rod is theirs. So yesterday also we had discussed the problems. Now you can understand these problems with a new light. So let's say it's going to be a rod is theirs, and this rod is moving with the velocity. Okay, length is L, capacitor is a C, and resistance here is a R. Magnetic field is a B. Now find the charge and current. If rod resistance is 0, if rod resistance here is 0, keeping the rod resistance here 0, find the charge and current if the rod resistance here is 0. Now with that moving rod, I know yesterday we had discussed the same problem from the Faraday's law. Now we know that flux is changing, but why changing? Because this rod is generating here the motional EMF. This moving rod, this conductor is moving in my magnetic field. So this rod is moving, that's why it is behaving as a battery. So no other part is moving. So it is not generating any EMF. This part is not generating any EMF. This part is not generating any EMF. Who is generating the flux change? So flux change here is caused by the motional EMF. So why flux is changing? So flux change is happening because of my motional EMF in the rod. Okay. So I can replace that rod as a battery. We can think of it as a battery. If I think of it as a battery, so as a battery, you can take here the circuit now. It's behaving as a battery in the direction of my V cross B. So where is the battery V cross B? V cross B is upwards. Okay, because V cross B is upwards, so it is behaving as a battery in the upward directions. Okay, V cross B, and length here is L. Okay, now you can, same problem, you can do it here quite easily. So there is a battery. If we're going to be consider my capacitors, across the capacitors, we have a positive terminal, negative terminal here. This is my battery. So what is the charge on the capacitors? Charge is going to be here, CV. So it's going to be a CE. And what is the EMF? VBL. So very easily we can get here the charge. Now if I'm going to be consider here there is a potential drop across the resistance. Upper side positive, lower side negative. So positive, negative. So what is the value of current? Current in the resistance, whenever there is a potential across the resistance, there is a current in the resistance. And potential difference here is my BVL. So this potential is creating a confusion with the velocity, so I have removed it. Okay, BVL is the potential divided by the resistance that gives me current. So that's going to be here my current in the circuit. So with the idea of your EMF, motional EMF, a lot of problems get easily simplified. Oh, yes, Shiva.
Sir, what if there is a resistance in the rod, sir?
So next case you can consider if there is a resistance in the rod, case number 2. So without resistance, I hope you understand, yes. The second case you can consider if rod has a resistance R. My rod is a battery. So the resistance of the rod become my internal resistance of the circuit. Okay. Rod is creating the EMF. So because rod is creating here the EMF, so you can think of this battery, the rod as a battery with internal resistance. That's it. So again, we can solve the same circuit. Okay. And what is the role played by the resistance in the battery? Role played by the resistance in the battery is it will give me an internal resistance. Here also, it will give me internal resistance only. So the resistance of the rod simply behave as a internal resistance. Okay. So rod resistance simply behave as an internal resistance. That's it. Now this is the RC circuit. Now it is not a simple circuit. It's going to be a charging and discharging RC circuit is there, no? So it's a behave as a RC circuit. So for the RC circuit, you should know the two things. You should know the tau, time constants, and you should know the steady state. Now in this case, my battery is not directly connected with the capacitors. There is a resistance also. Okay. So the battery is not shared by the capacitor. So capacitor is charged along with the resistance. And this resistance also play a role in the game. So it is a RC circuit. It's a charging circuit. Okay. And for this type of circuit, how to solve the RC circuit is, the first step is find the tau. And to find out here the tau, we find out the R equivalent. And to find out the R equivalent, what I do? You find out here the R equivalent with respect to my capacitors, right? It is the R equivalent, the resistance field by my capacitors. What is the resistance field by the capacitors? So the resistance field by the capacitor is a parallel combination of R, capital R and the small r. The tau value is, so I hope you understand, here's tau value. Okay. To make the calculation here easy, you can put here small r as a capital R. Very good. Calculation goes to be a little lengthy, so I can take here small r here as a capital R. So with the capital R, you can solve. Okay? So I hope you understand the idea here is, my rod is behaving as a battery and so the resistance behave as an internal resistance. That's it. So just replacing it turn into my RC circuit. And for RC circuit, we have a tau. For tau, I need a new equivalent circuit. So you remove the capacitors, you remove the EMF, and you find out the resistance field by the capacitors. How my capacitor feel the resistance. So capacitor field capital R and the small r as a parallel combinations. So we can say tau here is RC by 2. Right? Next thing is, you should know the steady state. Now in steady state, how my capacitor behave? In my steady state, capacitor does not allow any current. So when capacitor is not going to be allow any current, so it is simply behave as a blockage to the current. Okay, it simply behave as a blockage. So no current is passed through the capacitors. Charge is there. And this is a maximum charge. It is fully charged. So capacitor behave as a maximum charge. It has a maximum charge. So current will not pass through the capacitors. So where the current will go? The current is only going to be flow in my this circuit, right? So for this circuit, I can say steady state only, not always.